Hello, I'm excited to be here with you this morning to discuss the results and potential implications of my dissertation study, Critical Colleagueship as Sustainable Support for Elementary Mathematics Leaders. I'll begin with a quick review of my POP and needs assessment findings, and then delve more deeply into the intervention implementation, outcomes, and implications. Success in today's job market and educational settings requires reasoning, sense-making, and critical thinking. Research, as well as my own experience, indicate that many students leave elementary school unable to flexibly approach complex and real-world problems. Additionally, teachers, many of whom experience didactic, computation-focused instruction themselves, struggle to promote deep understanding and flexible problem-solving in their students. This study centers on the lack of organizational capacity to support students and educators' professional learning and growth. My needs assessment and intervention took place in Libertyville, an urban district in New England. This site was chosen both out of convenience, as I had an established relationship with the district through grant work that concluded just prior to the start of the study, and because this POP is more prevalent in urban settings. As this graph shows, in Libertyville, the blue bars, the majority of students have demographic characteristics sometimes connected to lower achievement and opportunity gaps. These students' proficiency rates are less than half of students from the rest of the state, the orange bars, at all grade spans, according to this state test. Based on Bandura's social cognitive theory and his idea of triadic reciprocal determinism, this needs assessment focused on the interrelationships between professional support networks, mathematics knowledge for teaching, mathematics efficacy for teaching, and contextual factors such as student characteristics, resources, and professional climate, and their influence on instructional effectiveness and students' mathematics achievement. Quantitative analysis of primary and secondary data collected from a sample of grades 3 through 5, classroom teachers, special educators, elementary mathematics coaches, and principals indicated, surprisingly, that there were no strong correlations between student or teacher characteristics and student mathematics achievement, or between student and teacher factors and educators' mathematics efficacy for teaching perceptions. There was also a near zero correlation between individual mathematics efficacy for teaching perceptions and collective mathematics efficacy for teaching perceptions. This was surprising, as extant research shows that collective efficacy perceptions influence individual perceptions. Qualitative analysis also showed that there were weak interschool relationships and exchanges within the district. These needs assessment findings are important because Hattie's meta-analyses shows that collective efficacy for teaching perceptions have a strong effect on student achievement, 3 times that of other contextual factors. Based on Hattie's finding and my own findings of moderate perceptions of collective capacity and weak interschool relationships in the district, indicated that promoting collective capacity and interschool professional support network development was a logical point of intervention. So, a study was developed to examine the influence of strengthening internal social capital through interschool professional support network development on the promotion of knowledge and resource exchange as a strategy for strengthening overall organizational capacity. My theory of change was that engaging Libertyville's 20 elementary mathematics coaches in structured interschool collaborative inquiry would promote collegial trust and critical colleagueship development, which in turn would promote positive perceptions of internal social capital and collective mathematics efficacy for teaching, ultimately leading to increased organizational capacity to support student and teachers' mathematics teaching and learning success. The intervention took place over 6 months from August 2017 to February 2018. After spending time developing a charter for collaborative norms and a SMART goal for their collaborative inquiry team work, the 4 collaborative inquiry teams met bi-monthly once in person and once virtually, to work on small wins towards accomplishing their SMART goal, and to discuss ongoing instructional coaching work at their schools. Time constraints due to a new district initiative cut planned meeting time in half, eliminating time for cross-team sharing and support to occur during meeting times. Additionally, the reassignment of one of the Mathematics Instruction School Support Liaisons, or MISLs, to the middle schools early in the study, as well as the introduction of instructional rounds as part of their monthly meetings, eliminated the availability of the MISLs as meeting facilitators. The mixed methods embedded quant plus qual design of this study included the examination of both outcome and process. The outcome evaluation focused on changes to collective mathematics efficacy for teaching and internal social capital perceptions as indicated by the red arrows. A t-test of pre and post survey data showed a significantly positive change to both collective mathematics efficacy for teaching and internal social capital perceptions on all subscales, indicating this population of coaches had strengthened beliefs in their collective mathematics skills, knowledge, and capacity to both effectively promote student achievement and support each other. Perceiving external barriers as challenges that can be overcome is a key indicator of positive collective mathematics efficacy for teaching and internal social capital. Prior to the study, narrative feedback from coaches identified 3 potential barriers to their collaborative inquiry team success. A, time for meeting and work implementation. B, motivating classroom teachers to engage in the work with them. And C, gaining support from their principals for engaging in the work. To collect additional data, meeting transcripts were coded for these 3 barriers around how often they were brought up and how teams responded when they did. It was found that teams either shared similar experiences, thus empathizing with the individual who brought up the barrier, they ignored the mention of the barrier by shifting topics, or they collaboratively discussed and problem solved around the issue. Of the 118 times that one of these 3 barriers came up, more than half of them, n equals 68, were during Team Z discussions. Unlike Teams Y and X, which collaboratively problem solved around these issues 80% of the time, Team Z only worked to solve issues 20% of the time, empathizing with each other more than half of the time and ignoring the issue altogether a quarter of the time. This may indicate that Team Z still sees external barriers as outside of their control, evidence of lingering weak collective mathematics efficacy for teaching perceptions. The process evaluation for this study examined the development of critical colleagueship within each team and whether this development was influenced by involvement in the collaborative inquiry process, through the use of blended learning structures and systems, and/or levels of individual engagement. As shown in these graphs, critical colleagueship developed in Team W, X, and Y discussions to either intermediate or advanced stages on all 3 elements of discussion: interaction, content, and focus, according to Van Ness's 3-stage rubric. Content analysis of Team Z's meetings showed that critical colleagueship did not develop over time, with all 3 elements ending at the beginning stage. As discussed earlier, unlike Teams X and Y, Team Z rarely engaged in discourse when barriers were brought up, either ignoring or expressing empathy around the issues. A key component of critical colleagueship is the willingness and ability to engage in discourse around critical issues by actively investigating multiple perspectives and probing ideas. Team Z did not appear ready or able to engage in this type of dialogue, with discussions instead centering on the sharing of individual school-based experiences. It appears this team continued to function as a group, not as a team, as they did not become interdependent, a key element of team development, according to Dufour 2016. To further examine discussion content, Key and G's learning interaction codes for knowledge construction, the K codes on the left, and regulation of learning, the R codes on the right, were used. A distinguishing characteristic of Team X and Y discussions, the red and orange bars, was that a large portion of their discussion, 40%, centered on teamwork coordination, including establishing and clarifying agendas and goals, coordinating meetings and school visits, and ensuring team members agreed on and understood next steps and expected deliverables. These two teams also had multiple interactions at what Key and G label allocentric elaboration, coded as K3, where individuals synthesized, probed, and challenged each other's ideas. This is a key feature of critical colleagueship that creates disequilibrium and promotes active learning and change perceptions. In contrast, teams W and Z, the blue and green bars, spent little time, less than 20%, on teamwork coordination, with most of their discussion focused on the sharing of ideas and information based on school-based work, levels K1 and K2. This appears to be significant because teams X and Y progressed to advanced stages of critical colleagueship, whereas neither Team W nor Team Z did, as seen on the previous slide. The process evaluation also looked at the degree of team involvement with the different intervention components. Teams X, Y, and Z held most or all of their meetings, with most members present. Team W, on the other hand, canceled 4 of its 5 virtual meetings and 1 of its in-person meetings, with members citing a lack of availability due to principal requests and/or illness. One of their members was also on sick leave for about 6 weeks, making them only available at the beginning and end of the intervention. The development of charters for collaborative norms was a deliberate design component aimed at facilitating the development of collegial trust and interdependence through clear articulation of individual accountability and norms for communication and collaboration. Teams W and Z talked through and completed their charter at the initial meeting in August, but made no reference to it at subsequent meetings. In contrast, both Team Y and X referenced their charter every meeting in relation to assigned roles, agendas, and norms. An analysis of the process evaluation data suggests 3 key factors influence critical colleagueship development: a balance of structure and autonomy, the use of shared versus personal reference to structure conversation, and attention to team development in terms of culture and collaborative norms. The original study design balanced structure and autonomy by empowering teams to engage in structured collaborative inquiry around self-chosen goals and action plans, with the district missiles placed as facilitators to serve as what Booth 2012 describes as sheriff and cheerleader, motivating individuals to contribute, keeping discussions on track, promoting diverse perspectives, and clarifying key ideas. As discussed earlier, the missiles were not able to serve as facilitators. Team X and Y overcame this issue by ensuring that they had an agenda for each meeting and by assigning roles to individuals to help monitor and guide team discussions in accordance with their charter. Neither Team W nor Team Z set an agenda for meetings, and neither team used the roles established in their charters during their meetings. The resulting lack of balance of structure and autonomy may be one reason why neither Team W nor Team Z progressed to advanced stages of critical colleagueship. Team discussions that focus solely on personal experience can limit critical discourse, as individuals agree to disagree based on different personal experiences instead of comparing and challenging the merits of diverse perspectives. Shared reference, such as readings, student work samples, or instruction around observations, especially those from outside sources, may feel safer and less personal for individuals. Their use can promote critical discourse as team members are developing a level of collegial trust that will allow for critical dialogue around more personal shared reference. Team-wide discussions represented beginning stages of critical colleagueship at the beginning of the intervention. They progressed to intermediate and advanced stages of critical colleagueship after the team began using shared reference as part of each meeting. It appears that the shared reference promoted reflective dialogue and deeper development of shared understanding, as well as a sense of collective ability to overcome shared issues and challenges. Explicitly incorporating the use of shared reference into the study's design may have helped Team W and Z develop collective accountability by focusing their discussion on shared versus individual issues and work. Without collegial trust, critical colleagueship won't develop, as it allows individuals to feel safe sharing mistakes and struggles and open to learning from those struggles alongside peers. Developing a charter for collaborative norms at the beginning of the study promoted trust development and helped establish clear expectations for communication and accountability. Team-wide's failure to take this process seriously at their initial meeting and believing that everyone would just act appropriately caused problems once they began working through issues, with individuals feeling not valued and doubting their ability to move forward as a team. As the two quotes on this slide suggest, Team-wide's subsequent development of and adherence to detailed operating norms and roles promoted trust and team development. It appears to show a clear shift in perspective of at least this team member from the beginning to the end of the study. Cotter's 1995 suggestions for promoting organizational change include developing a powerful guiding coalition, establishing a clear vision, empowering others, and celebrating small wins. Findings from the intervention and from related studies show that these steps are also key in promoting positive incremental change to professional learning systems, such as that sought in this study. In school districts, a powerful guiding coalition involves bringing individuals together at 3 levels. School-based instructional leaders, such as the mathematics coaches, system-wide professional development leaders, such as the mathematics instruction school support liaisons, and school principals. This intervention did not account for the key role principals play, and as a result, there was a lack of buy-in from the principals and a lack of vision for the clear alignment between the collaborative inquiry teamwork and other school-based efforts. Explicitly involving the principals in the planning and implementation process may have promoted more supportive conditions for the mathematics coaches. In this intervention, each team established a vision through their SMART goal that was aligned to the school and district needs and priorities. However, not all teams had a clear vision for measurement or a cohesive definition of what success would look like. And teams did not have a clear plan for communicating this vision with other teams, classroom teachers, or principals. Successfully establishing a communicating vision requires an agreed upon definition of key terms, such as student-centered mathematics, student engagement, and discourse. Several teams had these types of clarifying discussions and brought them back to other instructional leaders and classroom teachers at their schools. Future professional development design should include a more explicit plan for messaging and developing a clear and cohesive vision across schools. Empowering individuals means going beyond words of support to including actions that remove barriers to team collaboration and individual efforts. In this study, time for work on collaborative inquiry, small wins, and for collaboration was a barrier for all team members. This included principals asking coaches to skip meetings to fulfill other roles, district leaders including other work into established meeting times, and coaches' time to work with classroom teachers on daily teaching and learning being used to collect and interpret student assessment data. Although multiple demands will always be present, increased communication with and involvement of other stakeholders, such as the school principals, may have helped these stakeholders see the collaborative inquiry team work as opportunities to support school and district goals, as opposed to seeing it as something disconnected, motivating them to restructure their coaches' time to engage in this collaborative work. Finally, Cotter proposes that without short-term wins, too many people give up or actively join the ranks of those people who have been resisting change. This quote from a Team X meeting, where concerns about individuals feeling they were not making progress on their collaborative inquiry team work, led to an examination of action plan progress. The quote indicates that having specific, measurable, small wins enabled team members to recognize that although all of their work had not yet been accomplished, progress had been made in terms of established small wins. However, not all teams established agreed upon small wins that were actionable and measurable. Having a skilled facilitator or opportunities for cross-team collaboration as a check to ensure team small wins were specific and measurable may have promoted team progress by serving as a motivational factor. This study examined the impact of engagement in structured collaborative inquiry on the development of professional support networks and subsequent perceptions of collective ability and accountability. Success analysis examined connections between professional support network development and related perceptions and factors comprising both physical and human capital within the district. The statistically significant positive changes to collective mathematics efficacy for teaching and internal social capital perceptions for this population of coaches appears related to strengthened professional support networks and the ability and willingness of individuals to deprivatize their practice and engage in critical discourse around that practice. The 6-month time frame of this study did not allow for the examination of distal outcomes related to organizational capacity, including both ongoing professional growth and students' mathematics achievement. This is an area for future research. Additionally, future research should attend to the influence of strengthened professional support networks and bottom-up blended professional development, such as that used in this intervention, on educators' mathematics knowledge for teaching development, as it is also a key factor in student success.